Welcome to Tucker Rhetoric. I want to talk to you today about the valor of victimhood. I would say there's a recent trend over the last 10 to 15 years, certainly over the last 10 years, within Western culture or Western societies. To be specific, if we look at North America, America for sure, 100%, Canada, parts of Europe, Australia, New Zealand, more so Australia than New Zealand, but I would focus primarily on what's been going on in the U.S. Um, so we've seen this obsession with identity that has kind of taken a hold to. It's more so a specific group of people. You know who they are, the Looney Tunes, and because they are so obsessed with identity, they constantly focus on their race, their gender, their sexuality, which is not the highest aspect of who you are as an individual. This is my color, this is my genitalia, this is what I like to do with my genitalia. That is not very high level thinking, all right? So, because they're constantly focused on or obsessed with identity and how everybody responds to their identity, we've seen a huge increase in this victim mindset. For me, growing up, I was born in 1980. I grew up in 80s and 90s, and during that time, people who were brave, courageous, who had done something unusual, who overcame difficult situations, these were people who were lifted up. Where over the last 10 years, but there are a lot of individuals out there who want to uplift people who are just claiming to be victims for different reasons. Now, some of these people are victims in multiple categories, all right? Now, with the introduction of social media, this has given a voice to these people, and that's why it seems that it's maybe more than what it is. Because the majority of people are not like these individuals, but they're getting a lot of attention. They're causing issues within the streets, protesting everywhere, and then, all of the stuff that they're posting online. So I want to just clarify. So when we say victim, all right, there's three definitions. One, a person who is harmed, injured, or killed as the result of a crime, accident, or actions of another. A legal definition would be a person directly harmed by a criminal offense. And then in psychological terms, a person who perceives, this is a very important aspect or word in the definition because this is really what's going on. Your reality is based on your perception, okay? But a person who perceives themselves as being wronged or treated unfairly, even if the other person is not aware that they've done anything. You have people nowadays who are going crazy, angry, and upset because of a comedian telling a joke, all right? This will be the equivalent of me as a black man going to KKK rallies and saying that I'm offended. It's like, don't go there, all right? When I was growing up, if I didn't like the music, I didn't listen to it. If I didn't like the comedian, I don't watch him, all right? Why do I need to go out and say I'm offended because this person told this joke, and why should I care, all right? Like, who are you? So it's just craziness. And I would say most people who are my age, we've grown up where everybody wasn't sitting and cuddling you and care about your feelings, or we need to bend reality to what you think it is. This is just nonsense. All right. So when we look at this, what's happening is this shift away from individual responsibility and more so this focus on structural explanations. Okay, it's the government, it's the institutions, it's the system, and then the things they do in order to support this nonsense. They use language, they use media, and they've even started to get into these institutions. Okay, so with language, you're hearing things like toxic masculinity. This is nonsense. I don't hear people crying about toxic femininity. All right. Now, men, there are manly men, all right, and some men are just jerks. That's a part of it. But toxic masculinity is just nonsense. Then you hear all these things like, I don't know, systemic racism, white supremacy, body positivity. Some of these things I could specifically make videos about. I mean, body positivity. By you being overweight, which is having a negative effect on your body, we're going to call it body positivity. Make it make sense. And so I wanted to look at some of these categories and kind of break down just what this nonsense is. I am of the mindset that you as an individual are responsible for yourself. All right. Now, if you're a dude and you want to dress up like a woman, or I don't care, like do what you want because I got my own things going on. It does not bother me. But when you expect the rest of the world to just adjust and constantly go through your changes and your nonsense, it's like, again, who do you think you are? Because these people are obsessed with themselves and their identities. All right. Now, like I said, they focus on racism, gender, sexism. These are their main three. With gender, I'll start with that one. So you got the alphabet people, you know who they are. I don't think it's the L's and the G's so much, it's the other letters. We now, according to them, have over 50 genders. All right. You have this nonsense about non-binary, what else? Gender fluid, and all of this craziness. And science doesn't matter anymore. Okay, science is racist or whatever your excuse is to step away from it. I clearly see that you're a dude wearing a dress. I don't care if you're a dude wearing a dress. It's your business. But don't expect me to call you ma'am or miss or whatever, and I'm supposed to know your pronouns and all of this nonsense. Like I said before, they use language, okay? This is one of their main tools. And then they get on the internet, some dude, I was in a restaurant today and someone called me sir, because you're a man, all right? Period. Now, this is a mental condition. I don't know how we're pretending that it's not, okay? It's called gender dysmorphia. And for me growing up, yeah, there have always been people. There have been men who want to be women and women who want to be men. It's called gender dysmorphia. You have a mental illness, all right? And you decided that you want to be another gender other than what you are. Now, if you choose to live your life that way, like I said, I don't care. Like, that's fine with me. It's your life. You can do what you want. If you want to remove your genitalia and put something else there, that is your business. I'm perfectly okay with that. Do what you want, all right? With sexism, so now they are just demonizing men, especially white men. If you're a white man and you're not gay, you're the devil. Period. Just from being born a white male, you're already evil. And then if you like women, oh, it's over with. All right. So then with language, the patriarchy and all of this nonsense, men have worked very hard to be in the position of leadership where they are, to be in control of the system that we have. And now there are some problems, but at the same time, they've done quite a good job. All right. If you look at where we started with the jungle and where we are now, all right. You complain about men, you demonize men. However, if you go outside right now and look around you, everything around you that is not from nature has been built by men. The streets, the bridges, the buildings, the technology, the cars, the boats, the planes, the helicopters, the sewer system, everything around you, the internet, the computer that you're using, the microphone that I'm talking into, the lights, the phone, everything, okay, has been provided and made for you by men. All right. So when we were doing all the hard work, now suddenly y'all want to cry and complain and everything's not fair. If you're out in the middle of the ocean on a ship and something happens to the ship, who's getting on those lifeboats? The women and the children. But y'all constantly disrespect us, right? Now we could easily take the women and children and throw y'all overboard, and we could take the boats. We bigger and stronger than y'all. So you have all this nonsense where you want to demonize men, you want to tear down gender norms, which exist for a reason, because in most cases, men tend to be a certain way and women tend to be a certain way. Now, everybody doesn't fit into those boxes, but based on our makeup, based on testosterone and estrogen, we tend to be certain ways, all right? You have men who are in the military who fought all these wars so that you can sit around in America and cry and complain with all of the freedom and opportunity that you have because men have died for you to be where you are, all right? So give us some credit. Stop trying to demonize us and all this nonsense about toxic masculinity. I see this a lot of times when I've had friends who have been ultra feminist, but when they have a heavy box, they ask me to take it for them. It's like, no, go ahead, you got it. You know what I mean? Me and my wife laying in the bed. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. We hear a window break downstairs. Equality. You go down there. You don't want to go down there. You want to send me down there. You understand? And of course, I'm a man. I will go down there because in my house we have gender norms, and we don't have all this nonsense that y'all are talking. Because when things get for real, you're gonna need real men. All right. So get it together. And then on this other one with racism, okay? Now, I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist. I'm not saying that there is no sexism or that there isn't any, how would you say, any problems in connection to any of these, okay? But what I'm saying is you're over-exaggerating everything. You're ultra-sensitive and constantly crying and complaining about everything instead of doing something about it, okay? Now, with the issue of racism, we have, for example, look at illegal immigration. People coming to the country illegally, okay? But they use language and they say immigrants. He's against the immigrants. Nobody's against immigrants. There is illegal immigrants. But you won't say illegal because it doesn't fit into your narrative or it doesn't match with what you're actually trying to put out there, all right? Come on. And then with racism, and I would speak specifically to the black community in this aspect. And it's funny too because people within the black community get upset when you tell the truth about the black community. This is why things don't change, all right? You had the whole George Floyd situation and the BLM scam that stole millions of dollars so they could buy expensive houses in white neighborhoods, all right? And constantly crying about racism. So it was the police. You know, the big problem is systemic racism and the police, and this is why black people can't go anywhere. Even though there are a lot of black people who have, okay? There are black people who in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, when you had real straight up and down racism, and they overcame it and worked through, invented different things, started their own universities, etc. But you can't do nothing now because the white man is holding you back. It's just nonsense, all right? There's a lyric from Tupac. It says, they say it's the white man I should fear, but it's my own kind doing all the killing here. That's exactly what we're looking at. And I'm going to give you some statistics on that. So I took 2 years, and I looked at the FBI statistics on homicide, police on black people versus black people on black people. In 2015, 258 black people were killed by the police. Now, let's not just assume that these were 258 innocent people just doing nothing. There is a reality that people do things that make the police shoot them, okay? And this is what happens in most of the cases when the police shoot people. You think police are just walking around wanting to shoot people? They're not, all right? Now, I'm not going to say that there are no bad cops. There are bad cops. But in every profession, there are good cops, good people and bad people. In that same year, 2015, you had, wait a minute, here we go. You had 2,380 black people killed by other black people. That is 9 times more. But you're telling me police brutality is the real issue. Then in 2024, 335 black people killed by the police, 7,000 black people killed by other black people. That is 20 times more. So if you don't want to address the real issue, what are we doing here? All right? And there's a lot of other issues going on within the community as well. The family structure is not where it needs to be, and education is not where it needs to be. And as long as you don't have a family structure in place, as long as you don't have manly men in the house to raise these kids and help to discipline these kids, you're going to have these problems with crime and lack of education. All right? So if we look at 47% of African American mothers are single mothers. 47%. This is the highest from any other group in the United States, compared to 25% for Hispanic women, 16% for white women, 8% for Asian women. All right? This is a problem. This ain't got nothing to do with the white man. This is you all right? Then you have 63% of African American women, their first marriage ends in divorce within the first 20 years, in comparison to 45% for Hispanic women, 45% for white women, 20% for Asian women. All right? And currently, right now, in 2026, only 20% of African American students in the 4th grade are reading at their grade level. So, what are we talking about? All right? Now you can blame it on the system and complain about the schools, but it's not the school's responsibility to educate your child. It's your responsibility. I'm not depending on the schools to educate my child. I'm educating my child. Yeah, he still should learn some things in school, but are you making sure your kids are reading? Do you listen to them read? Do you hear how they read? Do they see you reading anything? All right. Are you discussing different things? Are you talking about history or other subjects with them? All right. Are you showing them a positive example of what a family should look like? Do you have structure in place? You got takeovers and crazy stuff going on in the U.S. Like, y'all are tripping out here. Gangs shooting each other, killing each other left and right. But it's the white man. Yeah? So I'm saying all this to say this. This whole obsession with identity and being a victim, I tell my son all the time, I will support you in anything that's going to help you and make you stronger. I will never support you in being weak. All right? I am not raising or creating a weak individual to be like these people who whine and cry and complain on the internet, who somebody told a joke and now they couldn't sleep for 3 days. It's like, get it together. All right? And a lot of you are young. You know, you're in your 20s and you're stupid and you don't know what you're talking about, but you'll grow up and life will become real and you'll move away from all of this nonsense. And the more you look at these people, then the people who actually have sense end up being like, well, I guess I'm more of a conservative viewpoint on some of these things. I believe in responsibility and dealing with people on who they are, not based on their gender and sexuality and the color of their skin. Like, what do I care? You understand? There's always going to be people who are different races, gender, and sexuality. Nobody's going anywhere, all right? But you don't have to sit here and pretend like your nonsense is for everybody. And then on top of all of that, you're trying to push this stuff to kids. People trying to raise non-binary kids, and then you're having the schools with Pride Month. Are you serious right now? Like, why are you promoting sexuality to children? These are children. Why are you sexualizing them in any way at all? Okay, this doesn't make any sense that you would be having a Pride Month, because Pride Month is about people's sexuality, and these are kids. That's not something that they need to be focused on in elementary school. They should be learning this when they can't read, but you want to do a Pride Month. Craziness. And to finish this off, what I want to say is this. You are essentially eating away at the fabric of Western culture. All right? It's about individual responsibility and you having opportunity to do the things that you want, so you can sit on the internet and be some weirdo who cries about everything. So they're giving you the opportunity to do that. You're demonizing men who have built the entire world that's around you, who protect you whether you like it or not, because you can't protect yourself. So you want to replace real men with non-binary pacifists? Like, where do you think this is going to go? Because the rest of the world is not doing this nonsense. This is in the West, all right? The rest of the world is looking at y'all and laughing. And they're just waiting their time. It's like, okay, just a few more years, 10, 20 years, and y'all will be going down real fast, all right? So I would just to say in closing, no matter who you are or what you are, there are people who have had much more difficult situations than you. They've had much more discrimination than what you have now, and they overcame it and done great things. Imagine if Martin Luther King would have just sat around crying about racism. He wouldn't have got up and done something and actually made changes. Now, you may feel like, I'm out protesting, I'm doing something. You're not, okay? Get your life together. Stop being a victim all the time. Stop making your race, gender, and sexuality the most important things about yourself, all right? Get it together.